Intro music.
Overview narration. Overview narration.
I'm Joey.
I'm James, and this is the Brothers Padre.
James,
What, Joe?
did you think the Padres were done?
I did think they were done, yes. What possibly could they do to make me feel more excited and happy?
We had planned an episode, and we've recorded an episode about 2021 season, the off season, because we're like, oh, this is done. Like you and I were like, oh, this is.
Yeah, there's nothing more they can do. Just nothing.
So before we finished that episode, all of a sudden this past week we have three major things happen in the Padres world. One is monumental.
We will talk about at the end.
Two is making you and I much happier about the 2021 season.
Yes. One brings us joy and longevity. The other two brings us closer to victory to the West and defeating the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think so. Just go right into it. We signed this past week Kela, formerly of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Texas Rangers, and Mark Melancon, former closer from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and last year was with the Atlanta Braves. And actually, I might be wrong. I think he was with the Braves for a few more years.
He was with the Braves, and he was also with the Giants at one point.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I totally forgot that. Yeah, so he was traded from the. Is that right? Hold on. This is an impromptu fan graphs. Yeah, he was traded from the Giants to the Braves.
Yes.
And he was with the Giants for multiple years. And the Braves last year, famously, he caught Ozzie Albies home runs twice in two consecutive games in the LCS last year. It's a pretty awesome moment.
Yes.
He does way more impressive things than catch home run balls in a bullpen. How pissed would you be? Like, you spend years of your life. Like, your father drove you from the time you're 12 to 16, 18, to all these travel ball games. And some podcast was like, you know what's really cool? You caught 2 home run balls while you weren't even pitching.
Well, I mean, it's the little things you remember. It's those are things in the sports reel. Yeah. Like, everyone remembers Ozzie Smith's backflips, first and foremost. You don't, this backflips, he was also a legendary defender.
But the deal is pretty cool. So it's a $2 million deal, which can increase to $3 million with incentives. Pretty cool about the deal is he basically prioritized winning over money. So, as John Heyman pointed out, his previous deal was for $62 million.
Wow.
For like a 3 or 4 year deal. He can get better deals than this.
True.
But he prioritized winning. He wanted to go on a team that was going to go all the way. Which we've talked about before, makes you feel really good that the Padres are in a position where, like, oh, we're a team that's in the galaxy of winning.
Yes,
and people are willing to, like, take discounts. And this is, I mean, he probably could have gotten $5, $6, $8 million a year. You know?
Well, he was the best closer of last year in the National League. So, I mean, he had the best ERA and the best closing record, right?
I'm looking into it. I mean, he did really good. So he's previously had really good years. Last year, I mean, Trevor Rosenthal was incredible. I should look into this, like, who has the better stats.
Yes, but Trevor Rosenthal, I'm talking about National League. Trevor Rosenthal split.
I think, yeah, if you look at the records, he had a 2.78 ERA, 11 saves. I mean, you have to remember it's a 6-game season.
Yeah. Pretty
good. I mean, 14 strikeouts, which is alarmingly low. And we'll talk about that at the end when we talk about him. He's a closer for sure. I mean, his record high of 47 saves in 2016. 2015 had 51 saves. So the dude knows how to close games, and it's in those moments.
Well, the cool thing about him is, yes, I would like to have a dedicated closer, but also we have 3 legit. Drew Pomeranz is a closer, Melancon's a closer, and Pagam is. Jace can look at our the lineup, the opposing lineup for that 9th inning, and pick who he wants to go out there. If there's left-handed hitters, send Pomeranz out. If there's guys that can't hit pure gas, send Pagam.
Absolutely. I think that kind of goes also with our Keone Kelly move, which is a guy that is very favorable on matchups. And what's interesting about Melancon, before we move on to Kela, like, he's not a high strikeout guy.
No.
He's at most he's had 71 strikeouts in a season, and that was in 2014.
That means he throws a lot of hard sinkers.
I mean, his ground ball rate is ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, but when you have Machado and Tatis there for a long time, spoilers, you can afford.
Not to mention Hosmer and Cronenworth.
Right. I mean, it's you're okay with a ground ball rate pitcher.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely. Yeah, I think it's a great pickup. It's super low cost. Not that cost matters anymore as a Padres fan.
No, I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, screw it. Give him $30 million. I don't care. Sure. Just bring them all in. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about the financials of the San Diego Padres over the years, and you'd be amazed how little we've spent. Like, someone mentioned Chan-Ho Park was the highest paid person in the 2008 lineup.
I totally forgot he was even a Padre.
Listen. It was $8 million a year, and which back in 2008, that's like $20 million, $15 million now,
Yeah.
right?
How long
But
did he pitch for us?
let's go.
Don't bother.
No, that's a good question. This is a very good, interesting question, because I also forgot he was with the San Diego Padres.
This is the same time we had Greg Maddux, right?
Yep, 40-year-old Greg Maddux. Let's see, how many years? Half a season. He was half a season
Yeah.
with the San Diego Padres.
He was there.
My bad. 1.5 seasons with the San Diego Padres.
Oh,
my bad.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot that dude was even on a team.
This is 2005, 2006 Chan-Ho Park. He's a fine pitcher, but he's not worthy of being the most highly paid person to line up in that era.
No, not at all.
But he was. So it's just, we have come a long way, and it's incredible. Paying him $3 million, up to $3 million, is an awesome pickup. I think we are, and we might as well just roll in, unless you have any more comments about Mark Melancon.
Yeah.
Kela, like, first off, I have to get the pronunciation right. Kela.
And for the rest of this podcast, I will not even try to say it.
Also, former closer for the Texas Rangers. Gives us even more options. Also, low risk pickup. Same exact deal, except no incentive. So just $3 million straight up.
Yeah. Another closing option.
We have, I don't know. It seems like we have, and I'll just say it, too many pitchers.
You can never have enough pitchers.
I understand that. I just, it's great. It's a wonderful problem to have. I just don't know come April 1st, like, who is going to fill out the entire bullpen.
True. But you don't, during the postseason, you win games with pitching.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
well, you win games with pitching every game, but the better your pitching depth in the postseason is better than hitting depth, because to get to that point, you should have really good pitchers.
He has a really interesting kind of career at this point, because last year had a really, for all intents and purposes, pretty bad. Got injured last year, only threw 2 innings, had a 4.5 ERA, which is 2020 is a weird season, and he played, like I said, 2 innings. So whatever, you kind of have to like chalk it up to be like, it is what it is. Yeah,
but you can't. 2020 is a weird season. He was hurt. He's an acceptable risk. If he starts in the minor leagues, he starts in the minor leagues.
He does come with kind of a hothead mentality, known to be a hothead. I'm not mad about that. Very entertaining. He's an athlete. Athletes are just weird, and part of the weirdness is they're kind of hotheads. But in 2019, had 32 games, 2.12 ERA. That's pretty good. Not as a closer role. Previously in 2018, he had 24 saves at 3.29 ERA. Like, it's a perfectly acceptable bullpen piece, and I think it's I think it's like such a cool addition. That's not this isn't like he's not going to become the star reliever that everyone's going to fear.
Oh no, he's a plug-in. He's again, we don't know. He might turn around and be the best closer in the baseball, but as of right now, he is the legitimate person we can throw in. He has good stuff. He's been in the league long enough. We know his stats against other players, and I think that's what we're giving our management staff enough. Like we're giving them, like our
yeah, we are. We're giving them, like, we send them messages all the time.
Yeah, they're constantly reading our text. We are in. Anyways, so like we're giving Jace Tingler enough tools. That's. I can't think of a last time or any time that the Padres had this many tools in the bullpen. We're like, oh, they can go like, oh look, so this this guy can't hit Pomerantz. This guy can't hit Melancon. Throw him in, This is, and that is great for when we're playing teams with big hitters. Like, oh, look, this guy can't hit Melancon to save his life. Throw him in there, That's what we're giving Tingler and the pitching staff is tools.
I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's also interesting I think modern baseball has been like, oh, relief pitchers just total fireballers. And Melancon and, gosh darn it, Kela are both, I'm so bad at this. Kela and Melancon are both like curvy kind of breaking pitch kind of guys.
Yes.
It's so interesting because I think Trevor Rosenthal signed for the Oakland Athletics this week also, former Padre 2020. Yeah. And I think everyone wanted him back because he was awesome. He was just it's
always good to have a Trevor in the bullpen.
And he did very well for us.
Yes.
And that mold, he's exactly the mold of a guy, just throws straight gas and gets people out.
How much did they sign him for?
They signed him. This is a funny deal. It's like the most Oakland Athletics deal possible. And you don't know this, but I'm doing air quotes. $11 million. He is getting paid $3 million next year, $3 million the year after that, then $4 million after that.
It's only $10 million.
Oh, sorry. I don't do math after work hours. I know. So 3, 4, and 4. I think it was that. That's 11.
Yeah.
Math are forte.
Yeah, that's we're gonna use you for 1 year, trade you to the Indians next year, and have the Indians take a.
Well, it's a 1 year deal, so you can't trade him the year after that. He's just getting a 1 year deal spread over 3 years.
Okay.
That's like the most athletic thing. They're like, oh, they saw him like, hey, you're not, because I don't think anyone wanted to pay that much. When you see like Liam Hendricks deal, and Trevor Rosenthal, let's not forget, for a while, a couple years ago, had an infinity ERA. He couldn't get anyone out. That was like the meme. He had unable to get people out. So, like, there's not exactly like a track record for him to give him a multi-year deal.
No, he had a 2 year. He had a good, last year in 2019. He was really good. I believe he was also good in 2018, if I remember.
Let me find the details because I think someone on Twitter mentioned this. He's a Scott Boras client. Scott Boras is never one to give cheap deals. Never one to be like, just be good this year and we'll get you the next year. He's always about the big deal.
Like you'd want an agent. I'm assuming he's your agent.
Okay, in 2019. Oh, dear. What do you think his ERA was in 2019 for the Washington Nationals? I kind of gave it away because I said he had an infinity ERA.
Yeah, so...
It did go down. I'll give you that hint.
I don't know. 5?
22.74. Listen. Talk about a renaissance. Yeah. Go from 2019, 22.74 ERA.
Now it makes sense where we basically gave nothing for him.
And just hit a killer, like, for the Padres... total combined ERA of 1.90 ERA in the season. With the San Diego Padres had that can't be right. Did he really have a 0 ERA?
Yes.
With the Padres?
He legitimately didn't give up a run all season.
I mean, all season's not that long in 2020.
Neither did Pomerantz. They were both dominant for most of the season.
Well, I don't know if it's worth taking an $11 million deal on it, but
again,
especially when you come from a year.
They're not giving him $11 million. They're going to trade him next season or at the end of this season.
It's this year. Like this year, he has a 1 year deal on 2020 for the Athletics. What do you do at Athletics? You have I don't know. It's just they have the dumbest organization. Can we just talk about the Athletics for just a brief second? They have like a guy who runs the team and pretends like, oh, I invented analytics, so I must be a good GM. They just refuse to spend money. He should have taken the Red Sox deal. Billy Beane made a mistake. He should have been Theo Epstein. He should have been the guy that brought them to the Red Sox. Listen, Brad Pitt chose the wrong guy. Brad Pitt should have played Theo Epstein. Listen.
That's true. I mean,
Theo Epstein's a much more attractive man than Billy Beane. I've never seen a photo of Billy Beane. I'm just going to go out there. I think that
I don't know who you're talking about.
Billy Beane's the general manager.
Oh, I know who Billy Beane is, but the Theo Epstein is the GM for the Red Sox.
And then he got the Red Sox out of the curse, and then he did the same thing for the Cubs. That's a way better story than a guy who figured out on base percentage was good and then never won the World Series. And the guy's still the GM, and they pride themselves on this weird ass deals oh, hey, here, come to our team for 1 year, but we'll spread out millions of dollars over 3 years.
Yeah, so here's the thing. You can't give up somebody once Brad Pitt played him. You just can't.
That's the rule. I didn't know.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because when you walk into Billy Beane's office, there is a giant ass poster of Moneyball. That movie brought more recognition to the A's organization than any World Series would have.
They probably made more money. They probably made more money on that deal than they've spent in any year following on any of their players.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to trade away Matt Chapman. They're going to trade away all the great guys.
Yes.
And it's just going to be sad. And I used to work with an A's fan, and that's an organization that's just they know they develop talent.
Yes.
But also all the fans are we would like to go farther than the division series 1 year. That'd be cool.
They're very much the Padres of the American League.
Except
they were champions in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, anyways. This is not an athletics pod. What are we doing?
No, I know.
What are we doing? What are your thoughts on, any more thoughts on, as I look at my pronunciation guide, Kela and Mark Melancon?
Again, we've got two proven track record relievers to an already great bullpen. Nothing as of right now is negative. Maybe Melancon's age, but he has another 2 years where he's going to be great.
I'm going to take a look real fast at our depth chart for 2021. Give me 1 second.
Bump, 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 bump. Joey is looking things up in
this is why I'm looking. That's what I'm interested in. I think we do have too many pitchers.
We can never have enough pitchers.
Just
I don't know how many times
can't say that.
Tell you this.
There's a physical limit to people that can be on a baseball team. That's the problem.
I know, but
okay. You ready?
We do have a minor league system.
Okay, I'm going to name you all the relief pitchers currently signed who are slated to possibly play for the 2020 San Diego Padres. You ready?
All right.
Drew Pomeranz, Emilio Pagan, Pierce Johnson, Mark Melancon, Matt Strahm, Austin Adams, Tim Hill, Keone Kela, I got it right that time, Javier Guerra, Don Altavilla, Craig Stammen, Taylor Williams, Adrian Morejon, Jose Castillo, Michael Baez, Ryan Weathers, our favorite.
I don't see any problem with 14.
Gee, that's 14 feet. What are we doing?
We have 25-man roster. That's
okay.
And that's not even a starting rotation, right?
We're here a 3-man, not a 3-man bench is what we're doing.
Well, here's the thing. During spring training, we're going to find the best of the best. And I guarantee you, not all of them will be on our team at the end of the year. Come trade deadline, we will know what our weakest, if we have any weak spots. I guarantee you, a stacked, great bullpen is a great thing to trade around the trade deadline to get somebody else, a piece that we might be missing, somebody's hurt, etc. I am not bothered by a large bullpen. Obviously, Weathers only pitched, 2 games in the playoffs?
Come on, he's a legend.
He is a legend. The man, I want him on the podcast. Please come on our podcast. You're a great man and we love you. It's just, tell us what brand of gum you chew, because that's going to be my new favorite brand of gum. If our minor league system has major league talent, that's a good thing to have.
I don't disagree with you. It's such a different attitude to come into 2021 season with, right? It's completely different.
Yeah.
We have so much depth. It's awesome. I just don't know. It's like the memes of like, I have too many lemons in my hand. I don't know what to do with all these lemons. That's what I feel like. It's just like, what am I to do with all these relief pitchers?
We're going to make the greatest lemonade in the world, and we're going to throw it in the faces of everybody else when we win the World Series. This is what's going to happen.
It's super exciting, and I don't know. It's interesting signing these players when we already have such depth. So it's cool. I'm excited. I just have no idea. I'm just glad I'm not the person making decisions of like, oh, should we have Don Altavilla or Austin Adams? Should we have, like and those are real decisions. Like,
and honestly, these are the decisions that will prove Jace Tingler. Again, 2020 was a weird season. He didn't play that long. I still think he should have been manager of the year, because Don Mattingly, how did manage the year with 2 games above 500? That is such...
Donnie baseball, man.
I know. That is baseball. That is left-wing media bias, ladies and gentlemen.
That's definitely East Coast media bias.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, that's probably true. Yeah, because there's no reason for it. Chase Tingler was the manager of the year last year, but I think we're going to see how he does matchups now, and this will be his true test, because he has so many weapons. There isn't a single manager in Major League Baseball that wouldn't love to have Jace Tingler's problems right now.
Oh yeah, listen, as a fan, this is a fun my problems I have with it is like, oh, just too many, and he's like, this is great, like this is awesome. So I'm super excited from Melancon and Kela. Interested to see how it plays out. I think that a big bullpen will help, because it's just going from a 60-game season to a 162-game season. You're probably gonna see a fair amount of injuries, and I don't think. I'm not the only one thinking that. Like, there are a lot of people.
There's always people hurt in a 162 game
regardless,
season.
And then you go from a shortened season to a marathon. It's just, it's rough.
Exactly. That's why if you have 14 major league pitchers in your lineup and available to pitch, they're easily tradable.
I agree. James, was there anything else that happened that was of relevance to us?
I assume this is a joke question.
It was a total joke question.
Okay, because of course there's something more relevant. Our boy, the greatest future living Padre, Fernando Tatis Jr., signed the most epic extension in the history of Major League Baseball.
It's pretty remarkable. So I'm gonna break down this contract and we'll talk about it afterwards. It's a 14-year contract.
Yes.
1-4. The longest contract extension in baseball history. Let
me put this into prospect, all right? You have a brand new baby daughter. She's 4 months old?
Yes.
So when Fernando Tatis' contract is up, I will be teaching her how to drive.
It's just very hard to think about that.
Yes.
It's hard to think about imagine having a 14-year plan.
Tatis does.
He has a 14-year plan.
All right. So yeah. So that just think about that. Right now, your little baby girl is, finding out everything's a wonder. In 14 years, she's gonna probably resent you, and
She's gonna go from loving Tatis to being like, Dad, stop taking me to baseball games. This guy can't even walk anymore. Be quiet. We're paying $30 million a year.
Well, look at it this way. I was a year old when Tony Gwynn started. I mean, Tony Gwynn was signed in '82, and I was born in '83. I love Tony Gwynn my whole life. He is your daughter's Tony Gwynn.
I'm gonna shout out one guy on Padres Twitter named Ryan Cohen. Must be the most positive person in all of Padres Twitter. Just an incredible, great guy, and he had a great tweet where it's like he grew up as a Padres fan without Tony Gwynn, which there are not many of those around.
No, not at all.
So like he loved Ryan Klesko and those days, and that's awesome.
Klesko's I like Klesko too.
And what he said was, I and a whole bunch of fans just got their Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
And I think the old heads were like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, listen, they did.
Yes.
And they got not only their Tony Gwynn, but they got a cultural icon. Tony Gwynn was never a cultural icon.
No, Tony Gwynn was never on the front of MLB The Show. Tony Gwynn was never. Tony Gwynn was the greatest hitter of the 80s and 90s, and the greatest hitter in the last half of the last century, without a doubt, no question. And yet, he never got a major sponsorship like Tatis just got Gatorade. That is prejudice in the highest order and against the Padres. But this guy is such a culture icon because people want to watch him. Again, we talked about this before. He is the Ken Griffey Jr. of this era because he has the hair, he has the attitude, he has the backflips, he has the talent, and he's only played 160 games. But the Padres were like, you know what, we know this kid's going to be great, and he's going to be in the Padres organization for 14 years. It's going to be great. And if he has the kind of career, if he has half the career he's promised to be, he's going to be a Hall of Fame contender. After 14 years, he'll sign a 3-year contract to stay with the Padres for 20, he is the franchise. But sorry, go on with the contract.
Contract's pretty cool because it's $340 million. Pretty cool. For 14 years.
Only 340? I mean, come on.
So this is where it's fun. This is where AJ Preller does his magic. He's getting paid $1 million in 2021, $5 million in 2022, $7 million the year after that, and then $11 million the year after that. After that, he is roughly making around $30 million for the next 10 years. And what that means is we effectively gave him Machado's contract when Machado was 26, by the time Tatis is 26.
Oh.
And just give him $40 million
signing bonus.
And he got a $10 million signing bonus. Must be nice.
Yeah, I mean,
so
with the economy the way it is, how can you live in San Diego on $10 million? Yeah. That's just ridiculous.
He's probably buying a nice shack in Lakeside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not giant beachfront property somewhere.
So what this means is there was a lot of hooing and poo-pooing of the Padres spending all of this money, which is hilarious. Just hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, those Padres is it sustainable? Who cares?
I know, right?
Who cares? I don't care. Not my money. Give him $1 billion. I don't care. Lionel Messi's paying $160 million a year. You think I give a crap? No, I don't. Not my money. Anyways,
well, that's interesting because with the way it's broken down like that. So yes, he has more incentive to stay good, right? Because they can't.
It also means that we're not bankrupt. Like after year 4, who do you think we have a contract for 4 years? After 4 years,
Machado.
Hosmer.
Hosmer.
Not Hosmer.
Oh. That's just Machado then, right?
Yes. So that brings our total, what we're on the books for after the 4th year of Tatis contract, is just $60 million and 2 players.
So that means we'll have to fill our team up again.
But this is the same. This is what Dodgers are doing, right? Dodgers are developing talent, signing big names when they come along.
Yes.
What that means is like we're carrying a 170 million plus payroll this year.
Mm-hmm.
If that continues from years forward, $110 million payroll we have flexibility with. Like, I hate talking about numbers because it's like the most boring part about baseball, but it just means that
you like the most.
I mean, totally. But after year 4, it means, we have all this flexibility. We could do tons of stuff with this.
Oh no, this is truly, again, there is nothing but excitement for San Diego Padres right now.
And it's a premier deal. So no opt-outs, and he has a no trade clause. So if the Padres are like, hey, we want to trade you, Tatis has to want it.
Yes.
He's the one that says, let's get out. This is a stat, and a lot of people were like, this is a way overpay. And I think that you have to remember this thing, and this was very cool. Tatis has played 143 games. This is from Foolish Baseball, with 629 plate appearances. Not a lot.
Yes.
That's basically only one full season.
Mm-hmm.
In that season, he has been a 7 wins above replacement player as a 20 and 21-year-old. The last time this happened was a guy named Mike Trout did it.
Yes. And the only reason why I know this number is because I watched a video of them breaking down, but he had a 9. He has Tatis,
he's a Lord of War.
Yeah. Tatis has 7.5, but the next closest person has a 5.
There is no way you look at Tatis. This is like, this contract is risky if you're not a ballsy owner.
Yeah.
Like, the current owner, Peter Seidler, now the managing partner of the Padres, the Padre ownership is ballsy. This is a ballsy move,
yes.
But not because of just like, well, we hope this happens. It's like, no, when players are this good this early, they're Hall of Famers by the time they're 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if Mike Trout retires now, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And if Tatis on the trajectory, we are not looking at some sort of fluke. This is a real deal. This is something that it's just one of those things of like, whenever I read people be like, oh, this is a dumb deal. Like, this, no, it's not. Like, this is about legacy in sports, which is something we don't get a lot of in American sports.
No.
And even worldwide sports. Like this, Tatis has said famously he would love to have a statue in Petco Park.
Oh,
well, guess what, dude?
His statue would be made of gold.
Right? If he stays all 14 years, he gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's such a great deal. Love it. I mean, it's
so side history, just randomly, I'm going to be there when they reveal his statue.
Yeah, probably.
Well, but just because by sheer happenstance, I was there when they revealed Tony Gwynn's statue.
That's right. I forgot about this.
And Trevor Hoffman's statue. Not for any, I didn't plan this. I just happened to be downtown. And like, what is all this stupid traffic for? Is that Tony Gwynn standing there making a speech? And they are like, oh, and the same thing happened. I like, what's this giant? I was downtown. I was on a date, and they're like, what's this? And we walked up and we watched Trevor Hoffman's speech, and they revealed. So I'm going to be there when they reveal Tatis because I won't know about it. I'll just walk up like, what's this nonsense?
It is the second deal the Padres have done that has been $300 million plus.
Yeah, so you want to hear something? If you ground to the left side of the Padres infield, you ground into $500 million.
Absolute madness. Absolute madness. It's pretty awesome to know that for 14 years we're going to see Tatis Jr.
It's awesome to know that the ownership is willing to spend money for the fans. This is hey, look, we're going to give this guy money in hopes that we're going to be a competitive team for 14 years with this guy as our anchor. The only reason why Mr. San Diego, Tony Gwynn, stayed, because his family, he was a true loving family man, and he loved San Diego, and he took pay cuts. The union was upset with him because he took so many pay cuts to stay in San Diego. And that's great, and we'll always love Tony Gwynn for it. If he wasn't such a good guy, he would have been a Yankee, without a doubt, and would have had a Hall of Fame career there. The only way somebody stays in any team for 14 plus years is that nowadays they pay him.
So Kevin Acee, and I think Peter Seidler saw all of those articles, like the Padres are 27th in TV audiences,
yes,
and been like, you can't afford this, blah, 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 which is hilarious because he's a billionaire. Yes, he can afford it. But
did he triple his income during 2020?
Listen, he's definitely a bit. I posted this on our own Twitter. Like, he's definitely a Bitcoin holder. He's definitely like a Tesla. He has to be. You don't just become a madman.
What was his holding in GameStop? I wonder.
He must be. This year he did fine. This year he did very well. This year,
yes, he did.
I think he saw all that, and then
love you, man. Give us a job. Hire us.
Kevin Acee got an interview with ownership. And what that normally means, if you don't know, Kevin Acee is probably the closest reporter to ownership. And if ownership wants to get something out, it's normally through an SDUT article.
Yeah.
And basically Peter Seidler comes out and the ownership's like, this is completely sustainable. We are not dumb. We want this to be a thing for a long time. This is a very sustainable thing. And then at the very end of the article, Kevin Acee says, and reading the tea leaves from Seidler, they're probably not done. Listen, you can't see it. James had an out-of-body electric, I can't use the words I want to say, experience.
Have you ever seen when Harry Met Sally?
He assigned a guy for 14 years for $340 million, and he's speeding to the press like, we're not done. Like, we're not done at all. And just, you can't, like, you just want to run through a brick wall. Like, you just want to, like, yes, let's sign them all.
Yes.
And immediately everyone, of course, in that Twitter thread was posted images of Mike Trout in a San Diego Padres uniform. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
But it's a fun thought.
Mike Trout is in for the long haul for the Angels.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's a great player.
Oh, he's the best player ever.
Best player currently. Let's not.
I guess that's fair.
Stroke that young man's ego too much.
He's 30 years old. Not that young.
Yeah, he's younger than us, and we hate him for that. But he's not. Until again, I always the best player ever. Wait until the end of the career to see what the best player ever is, because arguably the best all around player I've ever seen isn't going to the Hall of Fame because he took a couple of illicit drugs.
Listen,
I mean,
he just syringes around. They made him grow better. Of course, he's going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he was not a proportioned human being. His muscles were the size of my stomach, his biceps. But he played for the Giants too. So I mean, you kind of hate him for that. But again, we don't know until his end of his career. Same thing with Tatis. We don't know what it is, but the potential is there. But is this what the Yankees feel like? Yankee fans?
This must be.
It's like this isn't such a like. This is what a big team feels like. Oh yeah, we'll just sign some guy for a couple $1 million here and there. What's $20 million more for a reliever? This has got to be what. This is like the Yankees. I cannot articulate how I feel about this. This is
it's absolutely crazy because I don't know. I previously ownership has said, "Oh, we're gonna try to win," and it's like, "No, you're not. No, you're not gonna try to win."
And it started with Myers. Then we signed Hosmer. I'm like, why is Hosmer coming over here? I mean, he was $120 something million contract.
144.
Okay, I knew it was. Yeah. Anyways,
It sounds so little when we talk about 340. It's 300. But
oh my God, we got him at a bargain. I mean, are we sure he's good enough? Anyways, so like that was a huge deal. We signed Hosmer for 144. That's huge. And then like they got Machado. Like, is that our whole budget? Are we just gonna have two good corners? They kept on going and they kept on going, and they're like, yeah, whatever. We're gonna keep spending. I took over the stock market last year, everybody. I'm a quadrillionaire. Yeah, this is what the Yankees feel like. It has to be.
oh yeah, this is definitely what the Yankee feels like. And I thought that article ending was like, oh, this means that I honestly believe that this means that we're not done signing big free agents for the next 4 or 5 years. I very much doubt that we're going to come out and just clear the farm for somebody. It has to be, I mean, only way that's going to happen, it has to be a monumental signing.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be, what it means is, you know, next year we can sign a better free agent. Mm-hmm. We'll sign more in the next 3 or 4 years. And once Darvish and Snell's deal ends, like we'll replenish those.
And that's also a friend of mine at work, shout out to Josh, pointed this out. We were actually pretty smart not signing Bauer because for less money than the Dodgers threw away on Bauer, because let's face it, he's going to be trash because they all are. We got
based on no analytics, just feeling the best kind of analytics.
Hey, if I can't trust my guts, I can't trust anything. Anyways, ironically, I'm going to have surgery on my guts in a week.
So you shouldn't actually trust it.
No, I shouldn't. They keep getting hernias. Anyways, so where was I going with that? So the money that they spent in the Bauer, we got Darvish and Snell, and with less money, we got two, arguably as good pitchers for half the money, and that allows us, again, we might sign whoever the next big pitcher is next year, somebody that isn't trash.
We need to stop thinking about money. We live in a post-money Padres society.
This is true.
We don't have to worry about budgets. We don't have to worry about salary caps. We live in the golden age of Padres where we can just say things like, we're not done yet.
I know.
Give out multiple $300 million contracts. Listen, sky's the limit. We don't have to think about this anymore.
We legitimately have, I'm assuming, Scrooge McDuck money bin right next to Petco Park.
I don't know, man. It's wild. But yeah, baseball owners are very rich. Let's not forget that.
Oh yeah, no, you have
if
to.
you
be.
want to win, it's very easy for them to win. You know,
Yes.
You have to spend the money that you have.
Yes, but remember, we've had very rich people own the Padres before. We had the guy that owned McDonald's own the Padres before, and yes, it was the '80s, but McDonald's was still making a little bit of money in the '80s. So no, this is awesome. But before we end this episode, there is one more deal we need to talk about, and that is, of course, the extension to AJ Preller.
That's right.
Yeah,
I totally actually did forget about that.
I know, right? Like because why'd they give him? You know, they signed him, but that I think that was the ownership being like, hey, we're going to give you this fat GM contract because we have faith in you building our team for the next 4 years.
There must be a crazy relationship between him and ownership because he comes in and he just 2015 and he just signs all these people. He trades away. He gets, Uptons. He gets Shields.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, we're gonna be a good team. Yeah. And if you weren't around, they weren't a very good team at all. 2015 San Diego Padres were not a very good team.
What they were was a team to get a beleaguered, untrusting, hurt fan base. Like, oh, what's this? The Padres are trying to make an effort for us? What was that about? And then they got us excited. Then they got rid of all those guys, signed Hosmer, and started building slowly up. Like now it's like, oh, what's the? All that was a, hey, let's get a semi-competitive team, and we trade all those guys for prospects.
I mean, James Shields. Listen, that's why we have Tatis.
I know.
Preller comes from that kind of a failed big splash season, then goes into tank mode for 3 or 4 years, and
Rebuild.
says, "Hey,
It was a
rebuild time."
We've had tank years.
I mean, 2017 Padres weren't exactly thrilling. On the big splash.
They weren't must-see television.
Yeah, they were tanking, but we go from that, and he has like AJ Preller was suspended for a month for like fudging details with a trade. Like he's twice was caught like fudging details in trade. So like to go from like 2015 not doing great with all these money fudging deals to being extended to 2026. How many GMs have been like? Is Brian Cash? I don't know this information off the top of my head, but there's not many GMs. Once Preller is done, that have been 11 plus years. Current like GM turnover is pretty high.
Yeah,
that's pretty incredible. Like that's a pretty incredible amount of faith the Padres ownership have in Preller.
Obviously, they set some sort of this is our career path. We're sticking with the career path. We're going to make a splash in the first couple years. We're going to get some prospects. We're going to build our farm system. We're going to get it, and they did. They took an okay farm system and made it the best farm system in Major League Baseball. We have now went from the best to the second best, and we have arguably the best potential team in baseball.
It's incredible. Preller deserves every bit of credit that he gets.
Absolutely.
It just if you would have told me that AJ Preller from if you told me at the end of 2015 season, oh, this guy, he's going to be the guy that's going to be here for 2026, and you're going to love him.
I know.
The players are going to print out shirts that say, "In Preller, we trust." I'm like, nah, dude. Did you just watch that season? Were we watching the same team?
We love you, AJ Preller. Please come on our podcast.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. That was. It was just snuck in there. Like, why did we sign? Okay, that's clearly. And then he signs these guys. It's like obvious. It occasionally you see in Major League Baseball the GM and the ownership mesh. I think that's what we're watching right now. We're watching a guy who can build an organization and a team and an ownership that's ready to spend money in an organization. And those two very, very rarely mesh, and they're doing it right now. And it's great.
It's weird being like a GM fanboy, but I kind of am a GM fanboy. If they sold Preller jerseys, yeah, I'd probably buy one. You know, it wouldn't be very. I mean, he dresses like a 12-year-old, so it wouldn't be very fancy. But
no, he dresses like he works for Silicon Valley.
Yeah, he's just a funny guy.
Come on our podcast. We would love to have you.
But yeah, that's awesome.
Should we end?
I think so, James. We have...
Although we have not mentioned Mark Grant this episode, and we have to do that every episode contractually to get him on our podcast. We love you, Mark Grant. Please come on a podcast.
I think that the next 14 years would be awesome.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see a 28th season Tatis just destroy Major League Baseball. And now I don't have to worry I don't have to worry in the middle of the night like I often do with Padres players. Like, oh, is tomorrow the last day? I'll see him in a Padres uniform.
Well, again, for my entire life, the best thing watching the World Series was spot the former Padre. You know, just like, oh, look, he was in our farm system. Oh, look, we traded him right before he became a Hall of Famer. Oh, look, he won the MVP last year. He was a Padre. So this is... It's good to be the other side of that, and we've never been that before. Usually, when we sign a star, it's you're gonna hit a couple home runs for us in a few years, then we're gonna get rid of you. Have fun with the Reds, you know.
That's awesome. Well, make sure to check us out next time. Please feel to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, and look forward to our next episode.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.